What's up YouTube? How y'all doing? My name is Beaker and welcome to my channel. In today's video we're going to be going over the good, better, and best SMGs of Season 5. Now I did wait a little bit for this video because I did want some, not bugs, but weapon balances to happen before I made this list so it wasn't just a carbon copy of Season 4 Reloadeds. So we did get a small little bit of a change on here. So at number 1 we're going to go with the OTS 9 because it is actually the fastest TTK weapon in the game as of right now. We're going to be talking about close range stuff here. Um, it is kind of a niche gun, which I will go over in the build and why it's not as popular as like the Cold War MP5, which is going to be number 2, which is next in line for the next fastest TTK. Obviously, with the Modern Warfare MP5 getting nerfed to the ground, I'm at least back on the Cold War MP5 just because again I was used to it. For one, the recoil isn't too bad. Again, we're using this thing at super close range. The mobility is amazing, and its damage per mag is really good as well. So that's number 2. Number 3, which has been gaining a lot of traction with pros lately, and it's actually slowly winning over my heart. This is actually something that I use in my sniper support class, my LMG support class, if you guys are familiar with some of those that I do. We can challenge people at like a mid range if we're caught in a reload with an LMG. That's going to be the Bullfrog. Now, this build is going to be more centered towards using it with an AR, so it's going to be a little bit more snappy and based on mobility, as opposed to like a sniper support or an LMG support, which I'll kind of touch over in the end as well when I go over the builds. But that's how we're going to be looking at the charts here for true game data. So while we're on that, let's go ahead and hop over there. Alright, so just like before, we're going to start out this video with the fastest TTKs you can get with this gun, which is already ADS and all headshots. Obviously, the OTS and the MP5 are pretty much tied. OTS just barely beating it out, which you would think like, okay, well, if it's that close, why wouldn't I just use the MP5? Because the OTS shoots really fast, only has a 40 round mag, so you end up getting caught in reloads quite a bit. And I will show you later on, but statistically, it is the fastest. Next, again, Cold War MP5. Right after that, Bullfrog. As we all know, the Bullfrog has an amazing headshot multiplier, which does actually make up for a lot, which again, at that mid-range, definitely is very, very good. So keep that in mind. Cold War, or the OTS, drops off quite a bit. Cold War MP5 isn't bad, but let's be honest, unless you're hacking, you're not hitting headshots as far away with Cold War MP5. Go ahead and hop over to chest shots, and we're just going to put on here. Now we'll go over this first. So OTS, still pretty good size gap, not huge. I know it looks big on the graph here, but it does beat it out quite a bit more. Next, again, Cold War MP5. Right after that, Bullfrog, which actually isn't bad. Honorable mention here, which I didn't add it on the list just because I personally don't really like it, is the Mac 10. I think its killing potential is amazing. Its mobility is amazing. Ease of use is amazing. Even mid-range stuff is amazing. However, what isn't amazing is damage per mag. I feel like when I use this thing, I just with a 53 round mag running quads, by the time you down somebody, it's almost like I'm using the OTS 9, where you need to kind of think about your downs or your finishes. When you down somebody, kind of pause, take a moment, figure out if there's people around you, then decide, am I going to finish this guy or am I going to move on to the next person? Whereas Cold War MP5 are pretty much down finish right away, right? Because you just have plenty of damage in that mag. So that's why, but definitely honorable mention. It is a very good gun, but it just didn't make it to my list because of that reason alone. And then, like I said, right after that, like I said, the Mac 10's about right here. Cold War, or the Bullfrog right there. We're going to add some ADS times into this. So this is going to be if you are not ADS at all, and you need to ADS and then acquire a target and go on over. OTS 9 is the fastest. I do have this one built a little bit different, more for the ADS to counter the fast mag, because that's just, again, you get caught in reloads a lot. And this fast mag actually does make a difference as far as reload time, like a noticeable difference. That's why we run it, but it does have slower ADS times. Therefore, we run the Serpent Wrap to counter that. So again, I'll go over the builds more, but that's kind of where I'm at with that. Cold War MP5 and Bullfrog are actually pretty tied, which is crazy. And I think this is why it's gaining traction with some pros, is that the Bullfrog's damage per mag is a lot more than the MP5, and this build that I have right here doesn't even have the extended mag on it. This is just standard 50 round mag, so kind of keep that in mind. If you want more damage per mag, you definitely have plenty of room to go up. So And then right after that is the Modern Warfare MP5, or I'm sorry, Cold War MP5. So that was just a quick kind of dive through. There are extremely close. They all have their pros and their cons. I personally end up using the Cold War MP5 more just because one, I'm used to it, and two, damage per mag is really good, and it's up close TTK. Most of the time you're not getting beat by anything else. So that's why I use the Cold War MP5. Let's go ahead and jump over to the builds. So on the builds, we're going to start with numero uno being the OTS-9. So we're going to be running the Grew Suppressor, which is going to be pretty standard across all of these for the best bullet velocity, damage range, and also keeping us off the minimap. Task Force Barrel for the best bullet velocity, damage range, and which also does not decrease your movement speed, which every other barrel on here does, except for these last two. But obviously we don't care about vehicle damage and bullet velocity. Yeah, it's kind of cool, but we'd rather extend the range, especially since this range is very, very minimal. Target Team Spotlight for the best mobility. The 40 round fast mag, like I said, just because this one actually has an extremely fast reload with the fast mag, whereas opposed to all the other fast mags barely change anything. So that's why we're going to run this. And again, 40 round mag that shoots like over. I don't even have the right numbers on it, but it shoots really, really fast. It shoots almost as fast as the Mac 10, so you burn through them pretty fast. And then instead of running a stock, I actually end up running the Serpent Wrap just to counter the fast mag's penalty for the ADS time. I ran it without the Serpent Wrap and with like the Raider stock or the skeletal stock, like we would do with most SMGs, but it just seemed too slow for my liking, so I ran the Serpent on it. And again, no underbarrel. This gun is extremely easy to use without any kind of assistance in the recoil department. Number two, we're going to go with the Cold War MP5, my new baby, and that's going to be the Agency Suppressor. Again, increased bullet velocity, damage range, keeping us off the minimap. No barrel on this one because, damage range isn't a huge thing with this gun. I know I kind of just shot myself in the foot as far as with the OTS-9 because we put the task force on it, but at a benefit with the Cold War MP5 not running a barrel, as some of you may know, is that the iron sights are extremely clean. It's just this little half moon iron sight. If you add a barrel onto it, just kind of get a quick, obviously you get that full, the traditional MP5, but if you're going to have a clean iron sight, you might as well have the half moon. Target Team Spotlight for the best mobility. Raider stock for even more mobility, strafe speed, stuff like that. 50 round drum mag for the best, it's just the biggest mag we can have on here. And then the field agent grip, I personally use the most just because I like to have that extra recoil control. Using it at mid-range is not a huge deal, but I just feel more comfortable with it. I didn't personally see a difference going from this to the Bruiser, but obviously if you're comfortable with the recoil, absolutely just run a Bruiser. Don't take up a spot for recoil if you definitely manage it. So that'd be my one suggestion for that. The Bullfrog, gonna run the Grew Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, Target Team Spotlight. We are gonna run the stock on this one because the mobility isn't as great. And then I run the Serpent Wrap on this one again, just because I do want to be able to kind of close that gap as far as the TTKs go, when we are comparing it to an OTS or the Cold War MP5. Getting this thing aimed down sights as fast as possible is definitely important. If you don't care too much about that, or like for me, if I'm using this as like a sniper support, I switch out the Serpent Wrap for the Spetsnaz grip. Again, just for the best recoil control and using this thing more like a mid-range. But again, this recoil is really not bad, and with a standard AR, long-range AR build, you're not really challenging people in mid-range, so this is definitely a good gun. I find myself using this gun more and more. I just enjoy it. I don't know what it is, I just really do. Maybe one day if I get bored, maybe I'll swap this out for like the 65 round mag just to get even more damage per mag, but honestly the 50 is just fine. But there's just so many different ways you can build this gun, and again, I'm just enjoying it more and more. I actually have it, I know it's with the PKM because I'm going to do a different video on it, but XM4, my new baby for the ARs, and I have it built with the Bullfrog just to again try it out. So that's going to be the good, better, and best SMGs of Season 5. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the very end. If you guys made it this far, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys check out the ARs and the LMGs as well. All right, guys. Peace.